Hare Krishna, we continue reading from Nectar of Devotion. We are beginning with chapter 2 today, the first stages of devotion. The three categories of devotional service, which Srila Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, are listed as devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead. So this devotional service in practice is called sadhana bhakti, what we do following the rules and regulations. Then devotional service in ecstasy is bhava bhakti. It's a very high stage where the devotee has already developed his emotions with Krishna, developed the relationship with Krishna, and in that mood he's performing devotional service. And then the highest is prema bhakti, devotional service in pure love of Godhead, where he's already revived his love for Krishna. So at our stage, we follow sadhana bhakti, devotional service in practice. And we perform devotional service following the rules and regulations. There are many subheadings in each of these categories. Generally, it is understood that in the category of devotional service in practice, there are two different qualities. So again, these three, like sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti, they have further divisions. For example, sadhana bhakti has two qualities, bhava bhakti has four qualities, and prema bhakti has six qualities. These qualities will be explained by Srila Rupa Goswami later on. So, what qualities are there in each of these different types of bhakti is mentioned. In this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami suggests that the person eligible for Krishna consciousness or devotional service can be classified by his particular taste. He says that devotional service is a continual process from one's previous life. No one can take to devotional service unless he has had some previous connection with it. So, how do we come to devotional service? We get it because we have had some connection with, with a devotee. It could be from previous life or it could be even in this life. For example, the devotees were asking Srila Prabhupada, that how did we come to devotional service? What Sukriti did we do? Prabhupada said, I'm creating your Sukriti because he's a pure devotee of the Lord. Because of him, you see, we are also coming to devotional service. So only a pure devotee can give us devotional service. For example, suppose in this life I practice devotional service to some extent, even though it is not 100% perfectly performed. Whatever I have done will not be lost. In my next life, from the very point where I stop in this life, I shall begin again. So, devotional service, even if we take one step in devotional service, that step is not lost. It is eternal. We take it up again in the next life. So that's why Krishna says there is no loss in this endeavor. He says in Bhagavad Gita, there's no loss or diminution in this endeavor. And even a slight advancement can save one from the greatest type of fear. So we begin devotional service. We may not be able to perfect it, but there is no loss. We are given a chance again in the next life. How much faith we have developed, how much ever devotion we have developed, how much ever advancement we have made, we don't it's never lost. For example, our material education, we learn our ABCs, then we go to school, then college, university, whatever. But in the next life, when we are born, again we have to study the ABCs, again go to school. It's all lost, it's all forgotten. But the devotional service, that is not lost. How much ever faith we have gotten, how much ever devotion we have gotten, that is never lost. We don't have to begin again from the very beginning. No, we begin from the point where we are right now. So in this way, there's always a continuity. But even if there's no continuity, if only by chance a person takes interest in a pure devotee's instruction, he can be accepted and can advance in devotional service. So even if it's not coming from past life, it could be from this life. Prabhupada is saying if we hear the instruction of a pure devotee, hear it, accept it, apply it, we can advance. Anyway, for persons who have a natural taste for understanding books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is easier. I'm sorry. Than for those who are simply accustomed to mental speculation and argumentative processes. So Prabhupada is pointing out that if we hear from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, then devotional service is easier. If we just want to depend on our mind, we just want to not hear, but we just want to speculate, we just want to imagine, then it becomes difficult. To support this statement, there are many authoritative assertions by the learned scholars of bygone ages. According to their general opinion, a person may become governed by certain convictions derived by his own arguments and decisions. Then another person, who may be a greater logician, will nullify these conclusions and establish another thesis. So we have seen also, we see even in medical field currently, someone will come and make a study, they will publish a paper, but after that somebody will come and refute that same theory. Because it's all based on our mind. It's all based on speculation. There is no absolute truth to it. So in this way, the path of argument will never be safe or conclusive. If we have to argue, somebody who's a better person, better at arguing, then he will say, okay, my argument stands supreme. But another person who's much better at arguing will come along and will say, okay, my argument stands supreme. But then that's not the truth. That's just somebody's mind and imagination. So what does Bhagavatam say? Bhagavatam recommends, therefore, that one follow in the footsteps of the authorities. Because the authorities are not speaking out of the mind. They are following the scriptures. They are following the previous authorities. Same like if we want to become a doctor, then we can't just resort to our own mind and talk to people. Oh, what do you think? How do you think I can become a doctor? Somebody will say, yeah, maybe I think what you do is you just directly go and do the operation, or you directly, people will just talk out of their mind. They might tell us different things to do. But what is the proper way to do? We go enroll in a medical school, study under a medical professor, then we practice under a practice doctor. Like that, we become a professional doctor. Not just by talking and listening to somebody's suggestions and, oh, I think, or maybe. No. Same for spiritual life. Spiritual life, if we are really sincere about it, then we hear from the authorities, we follow in the footsteps of the authorities. That is then we are taking it up sincerely. So that's what Bhagavatam also recommends, that one follow in the footsteps of the authorities. Are there any questions or comments?
So these three are the stages, like how we climb the stages. So the first one is the sadhana, and the second one is the bhav, and the third is the prema, right? These are the stages, not kinds.
No, they are
They're the
not stages.
stages, yeah.
No, no. They are,
No?
no, because one may perfect in their life in sadhana bhakti also. They are the
Hmm.
three
Hmm.
categories.
Okay, categories. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And in each stage, we can have perfection, no? Even in sadhana bhakti, one can become a
Hmm.
perfect. That's what we are trying to do
Oh, okay.
in sadhana bhakti. Yeah. So they are the categories. Okay.
Like kinds of, right? Is it kinds of? The category is
Yes,
the kinds,
that's
right?
right.
Kind of, yeah.
Yes. Yes. That's right. That's right. Like
Okay.
we are following rules and regulations.
Hmm.
We are doing devotional service because we are advised, okay, hear and chant, worship the deity. The
Hmm.
authorities are telling us that's why we are doing it. We have no emotion for Krishna. That emotion, that bhava, that is bhava bhakti. Somebody is hearing and chanting because their emotion has been revived already, and someone is serving Krishna because the love of Krishna is revived already. So three stages, but we can get perfection even by doing sadhana bhakti, even at our
Hmm.
stage,
Hmm.
following
Yes,
rules and
yes.
regulations. We can.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Srila
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining in, listening in. Hari